So lovely people of the Arrowverse, you may or may not know that the CW upfronts were on, and I'm sure you did know one way or another because we had like a Batwoman trailer, but we also got some Crisis on Infinite Earths news, and if you've been living under a rock, that is the big ass crossover event coming, well, this year, but also next year. So if you're a bit confused by that because it was kind of worded in a weird way, I'm going to go over this and all the news we got out of the CW upfronts in terms of Crisis, and maybe go over some speculations as well. So let's break all of this down. What is up, people of the Arrowverse? Welcome to a brand new Arrowverse video. Well, this one in particular, as you just heard in the intro, is all about Crisis on Infinite Earths. I do want to say, if you missed out my Batwoman coverage, especially the trailer breakdown, click on the cards above. It should be linked up there. And just to let you know as well, in terms of like post Flash Season 5 content and Arrow Season 7 content, I will be releasing a couple of videos maybe over this weekend with regards to the biggest questions kind of coming out of the finales. But in the meantime, I want to go over the bigger kind of stuff, Crisis on Infinite Earths, because essentially Crisis on Infinite Earths coming out of the CW upfronts has been described as 5 hours over 2 quarters. And people, like including me, when I first heard that, I was like, wait, what? 5 hours, so like 5 shows, that makes sense. We'll get onto that in a second. But over 2 quarters? What do you mean 2 quarters? So essentially, guys, the first part of the crossover will take place in the last quarter of 2019, which is usually freaking December, like all other previous crossovers, as well as the second quarter, which is the first quarter of 2020, will conclude the crossover. So it looks like Crisis on Infinite Earths is going to be given to us in 2019, but left off at a cliffhanger. And then when all of us fans are freaking out about whatever whopping great big cliffhanger that is, and I'll go over my ideas of what that could be in a second, it will conclude when, you know, we have the Christmas break and the shows return back in January. And this is very, very interesting. Personally, I'm actually a really, really big fan of this. This is a huge ass event. I got hair in my eye, but like being such a huge ass event that is Crisis on Infinite Earths, I really like how we're going to maybe get a couple of episodes, you know, with the mid-season finales of the 5 shows coming, obviously, probably from October onwards with The Flash. We've got Arrow, we've got Batwoman coming this fall. So it depends what order we're going to see things in. That's another question. But the cliffhanger, it excites me because then we can all speculate over the Christmas period, and then we're going to be itching away to find out exactly what happens, what goes down in those final episodes, and, you know, paves the way for the future of the Arrowverse. Because the Arrowverse isn't over yet, guys. We've still got The Flash, assumingly, because I don't think Barry Allen's going to die, but Barry Allen may die. I'll get onto that in a second. And we've got Batwoman only just starting. So 5 shows. So what we do know, just in terms of the CW upfront, in terms of scheduling, is that Batwoman is coming this fall. I initially thought maybe it would come in January, like the mid-season, like when the shows are going to come back, when we'll get our conclusion to Crisis on Infinite Earths. I thought maybe it will like debut then. But what we do know about Batwoman is on Sundays at 8, 7 Central, and then followed by Supergirl at 9. And then we also have The Flash and Arrow on the same night, which is very interesting. But then Legends of Tomorrow will be airing its new season in 2020. So as far as, you know, what shows will go first, I still don't know if that's decided. You may be like, Boba, well, surely the first crossover episodes would be, you know, Batwoman on the Sunday and then Supergirl. This could be the case. It really could be. But because it's such a special crossover, maybe it won't go in the order of shows airing. But at the same time, you know, adding it up, why wouldn't it? Like, you know, if Batwoman's airing on Sundays at 8, 7 Central, start off the crossover then we have Supergirl, and then we have The Flash, and then we have Arrow, or it might be the other way around, so I'm getting it mixed up in my head. And then I guess we'll have Legends in the second parts of the crossover, because just judging the fact that Legends is airing in 2020, so you'd have to think that the Legends episode would be in 2020. So they've described it as 5 hours, which, you know, makes sense. I mean, usually TV episodes like, you know, the Arrowverse, it ranges from like 38 minutes at the very, very, very minimum to like 42 minutes, max 43 if I'm remembering off the top of my head. But with ads in it, this is what they mean. It's like an hour-long show on the TV slot, right? So that is why it's 5 hours, not 10, 5 hours of Crisis on Infinite Earths. Batwoman, Supergirl, The Flash, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow. Now, compared to before, I think at the CW Upfronts with Elseworlds, we got that poster, if I remember correctly. Now, this year, we got some kind of poster, but being completely honest with you guys, I guess I'm showing on screen right now, it's quite literally just a rip of the Elseworlds crossover, but slightly modified. There's nothing special to it, really. I'll go over a theory in a second that some people were thinking, but, you know, it makes sense. They haven't even started filming it yet. Why not use some, you know, professional shots of the Green Arrow and what you set up for the Elseworlds crossover in that poster and just kind of blend it together in like a little Crisis teaser. That's all that is. Don't look into it too much. Some people, fair enough, if this is your opinion, are thinking that little red mist behind Supergirl is like a tease of the Anti-Monitor. Some people are saying there might be some kind of obscure shadow in it. I personally don't see it at all. I don't see any Anti-Monitor in there. I have stared at it. I've got my magnifying glass out. Couldn't see anything, but fair enough if you do think that is. I mean, let me know down in the comments below if you think they're all running away from the Anti-Monitor. But really, in my opinion, it's honestly just a slightly changed Elseworlds promo poster. But my mind is just buzzing with what they could do. I mean, obviously, I think they've already said that with the TV version compared to the Crisis on Infinite Earths comic, we'll have like a TV twist, which of course is the case. This isn't going to be copy and pasted. For example, the most obvious one, Barry Allen dies in the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover comic book, you know, issue run. But essentially that's not going to happen. Some people still think it is going to happen. Fair enough, that's your opinion. But I still think The Flash is going to go to season 7. So obviously with all the Arrow set up, if you watch Arrow at the end of season 7, the Monitor has come to collect him, and you know he's going to die in Crisis. He's essentially sacrificed himself. So you know, the Arrowverse's iteration of, you know, the DC universe, Barry Allen will live on. But in my mind, that doesn't mean Barry Allen won't still die. It doesn't mean that they won't still do an adaptation of Barry Allen dying in Crisis in this TV crossover version. If you guys remember, we actually saw Barry Allen. I can't bloody remember off the top of my head what Earth that was where the Monitor went to. Man, either way, it doesn't matter. The Barry Allen that the Monitor just disappeared in like a little breach bubble, I don't think the Monitor would have killed him. It would be really cool if John Wesley Shipp's Barry Allen that we met in Elseworld dies in a similar way, on top of Oliver Queen dying, but that would be one cool way of doing it, and it would be like a little nod if he goes to Barry. It's like, Barry, you're not going to do this. I'm going to do it. I'm the Barry that's going to die, if you know what I mean. That's like one way I can imagine them doing this. I don't see why they wouldn't do that. You know, John Wesley Shipp's Barry Allen from his Earth. His Earth is completely destroyed from the Monitor's tests when he was going around in Elseworlds, you know, trying to find, you know, the best world and group of heroes to fight against the impending Crisis. So yeah, kill him off. Why not? Let us have that little Crisis nod and keep our Arrowverse Barry Allen alive. But this goes without saying, there is such huge potential for this crossover for other characters to die, like even Superman. And you're like, what, Boba? What, Superman wouldn't die from Earth 38. I'm not necessarily on about him. They could literally pull another Superman out from the multiverse. I mean, for crying out loud, I don't know how much I believe this is just from the top of my head, but they could get Tom Welling in just for like the banter of it. I don't think he would be in a Superman suit though. I don't think he digs that, unless over the, you know, multiple years that have passed by, he doesn't really care about that anymore. But I'm just saying, like, don't cling on to that, by the way. Just broaden your mind in the sense of what characters they could bring in to die in this crossover. Because, for example, Oliver Queen, this is such a big event. Now, if you know anything about the Crisis storyline in the comics, loads and loads and loads of people die. Now, at the same time, when we still got shows like Legends and The Flash, characters regulars from these shows aren't going to die, but it doesn't mean that the same actors won't die. So, as I said, they could get Tyler, Superman, to die from another Earth. They could even, as I said, Tom Welling, but I really wouldn't like look into that or read into that too much. They could genuinely actually kill some characters from the shows that we know of, or just haven't seen in a few years, who have left the show, for example, in some of the seasons of some of the shows. But that, you know, I would love to hear all of your thoughts in terms of that, because I feel like the possibilities of this crossover are just freaking endless. They really, really are. And it excites me so much that, you know, it's going to be left in a cliffhanger. I mean, the first thing in my mind is that the cliffhanger, this is just top of the head speculation, will make the audience think that our Barry Allen of the CW's Flash will die. But really, we all know he won't. But it might make some viewers think over the Christmas break, until we get the second part of Crisis, that, oh my god, this whole time we thought Oliver is going to die, but what if they actually do kill Barry? I think it'll kind of be something like that because of the cliffhanger, but really it'll pick up. Barry won't die. They might do the other John Wesley ship Barry Allen dying, but really it'll be Stephen Amell's Oliver Queen dying. But yet again, guys, I don't want to come across as this is going to happen. That is quite literally just speculation, and the odds are that won't happen. But that doesn't stop me from getting very excited about all this speculation. So I'd love to hear what you think they could do with the cliffhanger. How do you think the cliffhanger will end after, I don't know, is it going to be the first 2 episodes or the first 3 episodes? That is another question that I can't actually answer. Because this is 5 hours, does this mean that they're going to, for example, with Batwoman starting first on Sundays at 8, 7 Central, they will do her Crisis episode, then Supergirl's episode, and then maybe the next episode, which is either Arrow or Flash, and then they'll go on break and then just do 2 episodes in 2020, or it could be 2 episodes in 2019, and then Christmas break, and then 3 episodes in 2020. I think it might be 3 this year and then 2 next year. I'm not entirely sure, but we're gonna have to wait and see there as well. But that is the gist of this video, guys. I just wanted to go over it, like clarify things to the best of my understanding, but also throw in some of my speculations. As I've already said a couple of times in this video, I would love to hear your thoughts on it down in the comments below. I do read every comment, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like on it. It really does show support for the channel. Subscribe for more Arrowverse content like this over the summer, of course. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.